Today's video, I'm going to share how I draw these 3 hairstyles on Procreate, so let's jump straight in. So this is the iPad Pro 12.9 inch. I'm using the Apple Pencil 2nd generation, and I'm using Procreate as my drawing app. And these are the references that I'm going to go through and show you how I create each hairstyle and just give you some tips along the way. Just a heads up, I'm not like the best at drawing hair. This is just how I do it. So if you want to take whatever you want from this video and put your own spin on it, feel free. Like, don't feel like this is the only way. The dry ink brush is one of my all-time favorites. I've actually used it for years. I use it for quite a lot of things. It's kind of like my default go-to brush. You can actually get it on Procreate. It's under Inkin, as well as the shale brush. That one has a really nice taper at the end and it's got a really nice texture to it. It just feels really good, especially when drawing hair. I've actually got a sketch brush pack that I made myself. If you wanted to get this pack, it's on my Gumroad. I love using the butter brush, definitely for sketching. That's one of my favorites. And the waterfall one is really good for drawing hair because it's so smooth and you can press down harder to get thicker lines, and like you can just already see that is so good for drawing this kind of wavy hair. I love it so much, and look at that texture. It's so nice. So for the sketch, I'm going to use my own butter brush because, like I said, I really love this brush. You want to like focus on the larger shapes first and then start to add in the details. So there's a lot of hair strands going on in this picture, and you don't want to draw every single hair strand individually, so you want to block out the main parts. But I can see this really big shape here, and then this part comes down here. I would say this is another shape. Because this part of hair overlaps, it kind of cuts off that part to the rest of the hair. This part is just one big shape. If you want to dive more into like how to draw things from using basic shapes, I actually have a video. I'll link it below and up in the video here if you want to watch it afterwards. That might just really help you on how to get started with drawing if you're completely new. So I've already outlined where the middle part of the head is, and this is where her parting starts. It's kind of in line with where her nose is, which would be around here. So this is where I'm going to place the parting. And when you draw, you want to use more of your arm as to like help with the flow of drawing the line, and not so much just your like hand, because then it makes it a little bit more wobbly and shaky. I'm just going to bring the hair out from the edge of the head there. So I'm just following that edge of the hairline. I'm not making it look completely neat at the moment or like put together, just following like the shape. And then her hair falls just behind where her shoulder is. And when you draw from reference, don't get overwhelmed and feel you have to draw it exactly like the reference. And obviously as you start to put the whole picture together, you will probably tweak things. Another really good tip is to flip your canvas horizontally, and this will just help you kind of see anything that might be off to the eye when you're seeing it from a different angle. So it just helps. I definitely think this hair is way too high on her head. I'm just going to select it by pressing this arrow, and I'm going to press on distort, bring it down slightly. I'm just going to flip that back to being horizontal. If you don't have the quick menu set up here, by the way, you can just flip it by going to the wrench tool, go into canvas, and then flip horizontal there. And then I did section this little bit off to the rest of the hair, but you can also just put that in one big block as well. It kind of doesn't really matter. So the hair here does come out a little bit. I'm just going to add that in here. I also kind of use thicker lines, thinner lines, and when I add them through the hair in the middle parts of the big sections, I sometimes just add like small wispy lines to give the illusion of like movement of the hair. Sometimes I like to add on extra little strands at the ends. So that is about it, but let's move on now to the next hair reference. So I'm looking at the big shapes again. So we have like the fringe here, we have a section of hair here and here, we have this part of the hair on the scalp there, and then the rest of it is kind of just all in one big ponytail. So I'm just breaking down those kind of shapes of the hair. I don't do this every time now, but it definitely helps in the beginning as you're starting out. And when I draw a fringe, I usually, in this big section here, I'll usually take these like smaller parts and then like kind of clump them together as I draw them, so I don't draw every hair strand. This part of the hair kind of falls behind the face. And then I'm going to draw this next bit of hair, which I can see kind of falls just in the middle of the neck. So I'm not going by like exactly what's happening in the reference, but I'm just using it as a little bit of a guide, and it just has that kind of curl again. So I'm just going to kind of follow this line from here and just bring it up quite a bit because it's quite lifted on her head there. So I just kind of draw some random lines, some together, some wider apart, just so it doesn't look like too symmetric. This is where the top of her ear would be, so I'm just going to make a larger line to bring it all together, and I'm just going to put a darker line here for the bit where the ponytail would start. This is the good thing about stylized drawing, you can kind of change things how you want, and it doesn't matter if it's a little bit exaggerated or different to the reference. So I'm just going to bring the ponytail round, make it all big, and just do those same little waves. And when you darken over certain lines or make them a little bit thicker, it gives the illusion of that bit of hair is overlapping the other bits of hair. So it can really bring the hair forward. Alright, so moving on to the last one. So I'll start with adding where the parting is, kind of comes just by her where her eye would be, which is like here. And then it flicks out. Add a couple of small little lines to just give it some more volume and texture, I guess. So usually when I draw this kind of hair, I try and avoid looking exactly where her hair falls, because like I said, it's just overwhelming. So I kind of take it in my own direction and I usually just focus on doing these kind of curls back and forth. And over a lot of time of practice, that will just start to become a little bit more easier for you. Yeah, let me know in the comments if this video has helped you at all, and definitely subscribe. Let me know if there's any other videos that you'd want to see from me. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!